Hello, class. Well, I'm looking at the Access Project 1, the graded project, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how this works. It's actually quite, I'm going to say easy, right? I think it's easy. I'll show you why. So it says open up the start file, which I have open, and save it with the _2. Go ahead and make sure you've done that. It says project steps. City Tours Ltd. is a company that provides tours in a city that is a popular tourist destination. I can't talk. As a customer service manager for the company, you've decided to create an Access database. Okay, so it says rename the default primary key field tour number and change the data type to short text. So I'm going to create. So I'm clicking on the Create tab, and I'm going to create a table, and I'm going to rename this one. So I'm going to right-click it and choose Rename, and I'm naming it Tour, T-O-U-R number. I'm going to click below it, and that enters, it's like hitting the Enter key, clicking. I clicked underneath it. It says to change the data type to short text. So if you'll notice, it says auto number. I'm going to change that in the data type here to short text. The total number should remain the primary key, and it's the primary key by default. Okay, so it says add a new field. I'm going to click in the click to add, and I'm going to start from the back. It says short text, so I'm going to name it short text. I'm naming this tour name, Tourname, Name. I'm going to click below it. It says change the field size of the tour name to 35. So the field size by default for this short text is 255 characters, too big. Making that 35. And I'm going to click on the next field. It says add a new field with the name basic cost and its currency. So I'm going to give it the data type currency, naming this basic, B-A-S-I-C-C-O-S-T. Let me see now, and that's it for that one. By default, it gives you the $ 0.00. So any numbers you add will fall into that format. It says save the table using tours as the name. So I'm going to click on the X. To exit this, it says, do you want to save it? I'm going to say yes, and I'm naming it Tours, T-O-U-R-S, and clicking OK. You'll notice on the left side here, we now have a table named Tours. It says with the tools table still up in a data sheet view, I'm going to double click it to open it. This is data sheet view, where you would add data in all of these fields. I hope you read my written instructions and watched the video. So it says with the tours table still open in data sheet view, add the record as shown. So it says tour number is W0101, and the tour name is House History. And the basic cost is, by coincidence, right, 35. Had to do a little editing there. Okay. So let's create a new table. Okay, so, and close the tours table. So we've added this. I'm going to click on my diskette icon to save it. Going to close it with the X on the right. Then it says create a new table in design view to store the customers of city tours. So I'm going to go create table design. So here's table design, and this is where you would create all of your fields. Data sheet is where you would actually add the data for the fields. A lot like an Excel spreadsheet where you have a label and then the material underneath that about all that data. All right, so field name, It says add a field with the name group number. So I'm going to go group, RO number, and auto number is a data type. I'm going to press my tab key, drop down this menu and go auto number. And then it says set group number as a table's primary key field. But click back in group number, and here in my table tools design tab, I'm going to make this my primary key. Okay, it says save the table with the name groups, but do not close it. So I clicked on my diskette icon, and I'm naming this groups, GROUPS, clicking OK. And it says, with the groups table still up in a design view, add a second field. Second field is, see how easy this is? Yes, it is. And this is going to be customer ID, customer ID. And the field size is short text. This is save and close the table. I'm going to click underneath it to make sure that that is entered in that field. I'm going to click on my diskette icon to save it, and on the X on the right side here, it says close groups. I'm going to close it. Let me see now. It says open the guides table in design view. So that would be guides table. I'm going to double click that. This is in datasheet view. I'm going to click on the view tab. Now I don't have to drop the menu down. Now I'm in design view. We're going to make some changes to the field names. So open the guides table in design view and change the name of the field named F name to first name. So this would be FIRST. L name, what is going to be LAST, last name, all one word. And let me see now. With the guides table still up in the design view, change the data type property for the guide ID field to short text. Here's guide data type, and we're going to make that short text. In design view, add a new field to the guides table with the phone after the phone field. So I'm going to click below phone. The field should be named start date, STARTDATE, and it's date time as the data type. So change that short text by default to date time. It says I'm going to click in the next field to make sure that's entered in that field. I'm going to click on my diskette icon to save that. It says do not close it. Switch the guide table to data sheet view. So on the views, just clicking it, now I'm in data sheet view. It says navigate to the fifth record, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which has a guide of 108, and delete the record. I'm going to click here on the left side. I'm going to right click it and choose to delete record. Wants to make sure I want to do that. The answer is yes. And it says, with the guides table still up in data sheet view, navigate to the third record, 1, 2, 3. Navigate to the third record. And it says change the value to Devlin for the last name. So I'm going to click here where it says last name, and I'm going to do a little editing, DEVLIN. Then I'm going to click out of it. That's actually saved once we've done that, but I always click the diskette icon anyway. I'm paranoid that way. And I'm going to close this. Okay, so it says you also need to view individual guide records. Use the form tool to create a form for the guides table. So use the form tool. I'm making sure that the guides table is selected but not open. I'm going to create, and I'm looking for form tool. Let me see now. Forms. Here's, oh, I did something awkward there. Let me kill that. Okay, guides, create. Forms. So So I clicked on Forms. Let's see what it says to do. You also need to view individual guide records. Use the Form tool to create a form for the guides table. And boom, you'll notice that it's created. Notice on the bottom there it says record 1 of 10. We had 10 records there, remember, in the guides table. That's the form. Let me see now. It says save the form with the name guide data form. So I'm going to click on my disk icon and it gives me a save as. I'm going to get rid of that S and let's go guide data form. And I'm going to click on OK. And now you'll notice in the forms here, I got a guide data form. And confirm that the form matches figure 1. Mine do. And it says close the form. So I'm closing the form. Done. It says use the simple query wizard to create a query based on the customers table. I'm going to click on the customers table once to select it. And then I'm going to click on create. And it said what? Simple query wizard. So here is the queries. There's query wizard. When I clicked on query wizard, I have a new query box. It says simple query wizard. That's the one I want. I'm going to click OK. And it says include all the fields in the customers table. By now we know that that double arrow is going to put all of the fields there for us on the right side. And then it says save the query with the name customers query. I'm going to go next. And by default, it says here, which is the default name, and then close the query. So I'm saving it with customers query, and I'm going to click on finish. And we got it. There's our query. It says then close the query. Closing the query. Done. It says you need to refer to a printed copy of the customers table when reconfirming tour reservations. So I've got customers, it says you need to refer to a print copy of the customers table. So I've got customers still selected, and I'm doing report wizard. So notice here in click create tab, I have report wizard. And so customers table for report wizard is customers, I see that there. Include the last name, double clicking last name. First name, double clicking first name. Mobile fields, double clicking mobile fields. From the customers table report, do not include any grouping. All right, so I've got the fields in there. When I click on next, notice that it says, do you want to add any grouping? No. I'm going to click on next. What sort order do you want for the records? So it says we want ascending order. It's going to be based on last name. So I'm going to make last name there. And I'm going to click on next. It does want tubular and portrait. Got that picked. I'm going to click on next. And it says save the report using customer contact report. So I'm going to edit this here, customer contact report as a name. Confirm that the report matches. I'm going to click finish, and mine do. Good there. I'm going to save and close this. And then it says in the navigation pane, here's my navigation pane on the left, use customer data form to rename the customer form. Here's my forms. There's customers. I'm going to right click it and choose rename. And I'm going to rename that customer data form. I'm going to click out of that. That is renamed. The table is done. I'm going to save this. Well, we don't have to save it. It's already saved. Done. I'm going to close it. And we're done.